I think Bitcoin price doubles overnight. This thing goes through. He goes, it's kind of like, it's like a nuclear bomb. It's sort of like, I go, so does it break the power law? He goes, yeah, it goes to 500,000 immediately, Fred. Like, that's it. Like, we're done. You know, it's like, it breaks all models. Until we're up at $1 million per Bitcoin, they should have the idea of owning one Bitcoin. That's what they should do. You have to get to one. Like right now, that's the goal. You have to get to one Bitcoin. I don't know what you have to do to get to one Bitcoin, but you should figure out whatever it takes to get to one Bitcoin. Do whatever it takes. Sell a kidney, okay? Sell a kidney. I am not kidding. Sell a kidney. You don't need, you have an extra one. Sell one of your kidneys. You might be able to get a Bitcoin for it. This is like a major opportunity, like especially young people. They don't realize how lucky they are right now. That's the right play, right? You will thank me later. And your one Bitcoin might be worth $1 million in 10 years.
Fred begins by emphasizing the seismic impact that Bitcoin-related legislation could have on its price and adoption. He describes how the passage of a bill involving the U.S. government buying a significant amount of Bitcoin for strategic reserves could act as a nuclear bomb in the financial world. He believes that this action alone could cause Bitcoin's price to double overnight. If realized, such a move would break all conventional pricing models and propel Bitcoin to unprecedented levels, potentially $500,000 per coin in the near term. Looking to 2024, Fred anticipates significant volatility in Bitcoin's price, but remains optimistic about its long-term trajectory. He predicts that by the end of 2024, the advantages of holding Bitcoin will become increasingly evident. For Fred, the key to navigating this volatility is maintaining a long-term perspective.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
I mean, honestly, if they pass that bill, right, where they say we're going to buy 1 million Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin price doubles overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, you know, one of the guys on one of my spaces, this guy, Zach Resnick, he goes, Fred, he goes, this thing goes through. He goes, it's kind of like, it's like a nuclear bomb. It's sort of like, I go, so does it break the power law? He goes, yeah, it goes to 500,000 immediately, Fred. Like, that's it. Like, we're done. You know, it's like, it breaks all models. There's a lot of things like that that could happen. Another one is like no capital gains on Bitcoin. True. You know, like, there's definitely I'm not saying it's a non-zero possibility to say there will not be any capital gains on Bitcoin. The U.S. does a strategic reserve, while the Middle East will quadruple their strategic reserve, and Russia will do theirs. And like, these things are all, it's all an interconnected thing. And you know, it promises to be, on the other hand, if we don't get a strategic reserve, there's probably some of that's, you know, priced into the market, and some people will view it in the most negative possible way, and they'll be like, see, I told you, we didn't get a strategic reserve. You got to sell that thing. And it's, you know, the Joe Carlosalis of the world, who claim that they're Bitcoiners, but who insist on betting people like me that the price is going to go down, you know. So, you know, I don't know. I do think, I think there's going to be a lot of volatility. I think we're going to have a good year, very good year with a lot of volatility. And I think at the end of the next year, it's going to be more clear that you should have been long a lot of Bitcoin in 2024. So I just love Bitcoin. I think it's like the best thing. The average house in Australia, for your information, is now selling for 10 Bitcoin. Okay.
True.
Most people, so like, they're sitting there going, 10 Bitcoin, I can buy a house for that. But 1 Bitcoin to hold too much. Makes no sense. Okay, until we're up at $1 million per Bitcoin, they should have the idea of owning 1 Bitcoin. That's what they should do, right? You need to set your if you don't set your sights at getting one Bitcoin, then you're like, you have to get to one. Like right now, that's the goal. You have to get to one Bitcoin. I think, and you should really claw, work. I don't know what you have to do to get to one Bitcoin, but you should figure out whatever it takes to get to one Bitcoin. Do whatever it takes. Sell a kidney, okay? Sell a kidney. I am not kidding. Sell a kidney. You have an extra one. Sell one of your kidneys. You might be able to get a Bitcoin for it. I'm not sure what the market is, but I don't know, but do something, but get a Bitcoin, this is like a major opportunity, especially young people. They don't realize how lucky they are right now. I didn't have Bitcoin when I was your age. It's great to have this opportunity to get big. Just make it a priority. The problem is people don't take it seriously. They're just spending all their time watching Netflix. Stop watching Netflix. Put the Netflix down, get a second job, stop watching real estate porn on, Zillow and looking at, this kind of crap and looking at some kind of, crappy house in Australia that you want to buy. No, just buy some Bitcoin and chill. Rent a studio somewhere, cheapest thing you can find, and sleep on a mattress. That's it. That's the right play, right? Stop with the creature comforts and the social stuff. Don't need it. You will thank me later. And your one Bitcoin might be worth $1 million in 10 years. Great. It's great. That's how you become a millionaire, It's still within reach. It's within reach of most of the people. I mean, maybe not if you're in, I don't know, some of your readers might be in Uganda or I don't know, someplace like that, right? Maybe not. Maybe one Bitcoin is a little bit much for them, right? But anybody who's listening to you in Australia or America, people spend a Bitcoin on a car, what are you talking about? I don't know. It's achievable. You just have to really prioritize it. I think you all can get to one Bitcoin. You have no excuse. It's like the Alex Baldwin said in Glenn Ross, your excuses are your own, pal.
Fred reiterates Bitcoin's unique qualities as a store of value, comparing it to real estate and traditional currencies. Unlike physical assets, Bitcoin offers unmatched portability, liquidity, and divisibility. For Fred, Bitcoin represents the ultimate form of digital gold, with a finite supply and increasing global demand. He believes that Bitcoin's value will continue to grow as more individuals, institutions, and governments recognize its potential.
Look, I think that my back-of-the-envelope calculation, it's almost has nothing to do with the power law, it's just the multiplier. Look, I think MicroStrategy did about $30 billion this year, right? Total in inflows. Maybe almost 30, 20, somewhere between 20 and 30, right?
Is that the same as the ETFs? Yeah, sorry.
The ETFs did a little bit more, maybe total, but they're almost comparable, right? So, people are how much? So we've had $60 billion, let's just call it, right? That went from institutional money or institutional retail, but TradFi, there's been a $60 billion movement into or let's say a $50 billion movement into Bitcoin, right? What did that do to Bitcoin? Well, it moved it up from, let's call it 40,000 to 100,000, right? Okay. Let's just say even it moved it from 50,000, doubled it, right? Okay. So it created $1 trillion of market cap with $50 billion in there. That's a 20x multiple, right? So let's just use 20x. I think that's probably a pretty decent multiple on how much money's coming into the combo of ETFs and MicroStrategy, right? Well, what do I think MicroStrategy is going to do next year? I think they could probably do 75 billion, what do I think the ETFs? I think the ETFs will do more now, right? I think they'll probably do 150 billion. they're sort of getting going, like I feel like the Black Rocks of the world, they're just starting, the advisors, all that stuff. So I think if you look at this and you say, okay, Brad, what do you think the total number is between I'd say 250 billion, maybe 200 billion, between those two. So what does that do to the market? Well, I think it gets you to around 400, thousand per Bitcoin, Now, of course, that rosy scenario may not play out, but I think that that seems reasonable to me. And that doesn't even involve Bitcoin National Reserve or, any of that stuff, right? It's just TradFi and MicroStrategy is doing their thing,
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
So,
sense.
no, I don't know. I think there's a wide variety of things, but I'd be kind of shocked if we were below 200,000 next year, at the end of next year. That would kind of shock me if we were below 200,000. Something's wrong with my thesis, because I do think we're going to double from here in the next year. I mean, look, we did it better than that this year. We did more than double, right? I think we're gonna triple or quadruple, or maybe even more. It's possible. There's not. I do think that right now, it's a supply and demand thing, right? So, where's the supply coming from? The supply is coming from OGs selling mainly. It's not miners don't matter anymore, right? So you have the supply is OGs selling. Well, I think a lot of the OGs got out right around 100K. I think that was a lot of them kind of there. I think the next tranche of stuff, I think you're going to have people peel away parts, but I don't think they're going to get out entirely. Just talking to people I know and, my experience, I don't see people saying I'm out at 200K. I'm out. Like, I don't meet people like that. I don't know. Maybe you do, but I don't, you know what I mean? I don't see people like that. I see people saying at 200K, I might take off 10% or 20%. You know what I mean? And I might do that myself, by the way. Only reason to do that for me is I kind of believe in this Kelly criterion a little bit. I think that as a discipline, it's good to say, I'm going to have some maximum threshold, beyond which I don't want to be in Bitcoin, right?
Fred Krueger's bold predictions and passionate advocacy for Bitcoin highlight its transformative potential in the global financial system. Whether it's through legislative breakthroughs, strategic reserves, or individual accumulation strategies, Bitcoin offers unparalleled opportunities for wealth creation. As Fred says, achieving the goal of owning one Bitcoin could be life-changing. For those willing to prioritize and persevere, the rewards could be extraordinary.
Please like and subscribe my channel.